Happy Sunday, you guys. I hope everyone's having a great weekend. Figured, it's a beautiful day. I'm out for a walk. Let me pop on here quickly, make a quick video, and see how everyone is doing. Yeah, you guys. So, as I was deep in thought, and I was praying, and I was in my word, the theme that keeps coming back to me is, that there's a time for everything. There's a time to cry, there's a time to laugh, there's a time to mourn, there's a time for new beginnings, there's a time for endings, there's a time for war, there's a time for peace, and that scripture that comes to mind. So because of that, it really had me thinking about the different seasons that we are in, the different seasons that we may be going into, and sometimes just even coming to the understanding as to why we were in certain seasons, what were the lessons that we had to learn, um, why that particular timing of it, and also just coming into a space where, things may not have made sense to us at the time, at the moment that you're going through things. But then once you go through it and you end up in a space where there's a little bit of clarity, there's a little bit of clarity that comes. And it's just, also with this walk, it could be the Lord walking you through seasons of maturity and just even understanding this walk a little bit more, understanding God, that everything works all together for your good. So even though you may have been disappointed or you may not have understood why certain things had to happen, the timing of it, the disappointment that you felt, it was all for a reason. All for a reason. And a lot of the times you don't even know what it is until afterwards, right? And so you may have found yourself in a space where you've just been needing the time and the space to heal, that time to actually be by yourself, with no distractions, and just God just working in your heart, working in your mind, bringing things up to the surface that you have avoided or you didn't even realize that was there. All the emotional stuff, all the baggage, right? It could have been that. Or it also could have been a season where it's like, okay, guess what? Now we're in a season that things are not going to go your way. You're going to have to learn to deal with disappointment. You're going to have to learn to deal with, no, this isn't what I have for you. Or no, not right now. Right? Or sometimes you can even be in a space where, or have been in a space where, God was also teaching you how to trust Him, how to trust His timing, how to trust walking with God and not doing everything on your own accord. Like having the Lord walk beside you and guide you and take you step by step throughout your journey, right? Where you're not needing to having to figure out everything. Or maybe you can even be in a space where maybe you're so used to doing everything on your own, you're used to being in control, and now you find yourself where you're not. And you are actually needing to rely on God because nothing's making sense. Right? Or you very well could have also been in a season where, it was time to war. God needed to teach you how to fight. Or it was time for you to put things down. God's been showing you that, you're tired, you're exhausted. There's certain things that you have taken up that wasn't your battle to fight to begin with. So put it down. Give it back to God, right? Just because you can do it, just because you have the strength, just because you have the knowledge, just because you have the capacity to do so, it doesn't mean that it's your fight to fight, right? So God could have been showing you that as well too. So whatever it is, you know who you are. You know who you are. And you need to take the time to also ask God again, what is God wanting you to do next in this new season? And sometimes you're not going to get the answer right away. Sometimes you're just going to have to rest. Sometimes maybe it could also be God just teaching you to relax. He's in control. You don't need to know everything right away. But even if you don't know everything right away, can you still relax? Can you still rest in knowing that He's good? Can you still rest in knowing that He's in control? He knows everything. And all you got to do is just sit back and enjoy, right? So, you guys, this is just a little bit of encouragement on this Sunday. Just try to understand a little bit more God's character, God's will. It may not always make sense, but if it's one thing that I do know, is remain faithful to God, because God's been faithful to you. Never once left you, has always been here, even when you couldn't even see that He was. He's always been here, and that's the beauty of it. So, even learning to walk in step with God, learning how to still remain faithful to God, learning to see His goodness and the joy of your day-to-day life, and just knowing that He's still there, wanting to pour back into you again. All right, you guys, on this beautiful Sunday with lots of love and encouragement, I hope and pray that you guys have a great week. All right, you guys.